This month, we wanted to take the time and be able to introduce some of our volunteers that join us here at St. Clair each and every Sunday. Our volunteers are so important and vital to the success of our ministry, and we are so thankful for them. And we think it's important that we take the time to be able to introduce them to you and allow them to be able to share their stories so you can get to know them on a more personal level. Here with Rufus Wilson. Rufus, we're so glad to have you. Thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having
me. Giving us your time. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I am a father of 4. I have 3 girls and 1 boy. My oldest is 19, and I have 15, and I have 13, and then my young man is 12. I am a husband, which is a job in itself.
Yeah.
I also work for Wilson Middle School. I'm a behavior specialist, so I deal with a lot of, I do most of the discipline there. So kids that get in trouble, they come see me usually. And I try not to make it a bad thing. I try to do a whole lot of, correction. I am human. Sometimes my anger gets the best of me, but I also try to make sure that I'm rehabilitating at the same time. And most of those kids, you find out they just need nurturing. So I try to take most of my spiritual life and then be the school guy and try to mix them together and be compassionate and loving and then give them, the sternness they need as well. So
That's awesome, man. You're really pouring into kids, and I think that's so important in today's world. I mean, especially with as many broken homes as are out there, and just the lack of God in churches. I think that's extremely important. So that's really cool. So you've been coming to St. Clair here for probably about 90 days now, right?
Yeah.
So tell us what brought you to St. Clair.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell this story. So I created a profile on an app called Bandmix, as you know, and it just sat there. It sat there for a long time. And the God part in this is one night I was up till about 4 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep, and I was just restless. And usually when that happens, I know that's God speaking to me. So I just went into prayer, and something said check my phone, and there was an email from the Bandmix app, and it was Jason. I was very reluctant to reply to this email because the first email that I got on this app was a dating site. And this is church. I'm not at all gonna go into what was on that email. So I was very reluctant to reply to this email, and I even put that in the email, and Jason was like, no, I'm married. It's not a dating site. So he let me know that, what he was looking for, and it was an audition process, and I believe during the audition process, I was going to visit my dad down in Georgia, and you let me do it when I got back. And immediately when I got here, I felt the sense of God. I knew God was in this place. He turned the music on, we played. I think we just discussed more. Our hearts for serving the Lord versus music. So the biggest thing with coming here is that I wasn't even, at the time, I wasn't looking for a church. God placed me here. So the search wasn't on me. It was just God moving in my life, and I've always been obedient. And I even said in the email, I don't move unless God tells me to move, and here I am. Yeah. I'm very excited to be here.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and that's one thing that we did talk about. Was about the heart for serving, because God calls us to do our best and serve Him, and it's not about us. We're just the vessels, right? We're the hands and feet, and that's one thing I absolutely loved about your heart and your willingness to serve, and that's one thing that we're so grateful for. So you had mentioned that you weren't looking for a church, that you had already been involved with other churches. So what sort of led you to make the commitment to serve here?
Okay, so prior to coming here, I was just a drummer. I was just drumming. I was playing in 2 solid churches, sometimes 3, or wherever I would, could go to play, because I just wanted to play. I just enjoy playing the drums. The serving aspect was kind of not. It just was out the window. It was just work. I was just toiling, just because I wanted to play. So when I got here and I noticed, you talked about all the things that you were doing, all the changes that you were going to make, and mainly it just was an opportunity to serve and worship and play in a manner of ministry versus just playing. I get my songs, I go up there and play. I treat music as a ministry because I feel like I'm reaching somebody. I don't know who's on the other side of the Facebook channel or the YouTube channel that's watching that. I may hit a symbol a certain way and it might create some sort of stir in their spirit that will cause them to worship a different way. And I feel like music is a ministry at whole, but I think every musician that's playing in the band has a different ministry that they're working on through their music.
Yeah.
So it was an opportunity to worship one and then minister to people that there might be a young drummer out there. My son's eager to play. This is a way for me to connect with him or somebody else that's in the same situation that I was in, just wanting to play, but they have a heart for God. They don't want to just play outside of church, so they want to play in a church, and you just got to wait on God. And this is an opportunity for me to minister to that person or anybody else that's seeking God through music.
That's awesome. And that's the thing. We don't know what our reach capability is, and that's why we put so much emphasis on worship and worshiping. And it's not just going up there and just singing songs to sing songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is an actual engagement
Mm-hmm.
with God, and when God's in it, just the reach and the potential of changing lives for His kingdom is absolutely just remarkable.
Yeah.
And there, you can't even put a measurement.
No.
And that's the thing, because we just don't know.
You're
We may
right.
never know, right?
We won't.
But we do it for Him, and that's truly awesome. So, what makes St. Clair different than the other churches that you were attending previously?
Okay, so every church that I've been to, I've been really connected to the pastors because I feel like the pastor is the nucleus of a church. If a good pastor's there, then the rest of the church is going to, they're going to fall in line behind a great leader. So when I got here, me and you had our discussion, and I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. And then you said we were building a drum enclosure, so I come in to build the drum enclosure, and here's a bunch of guys. We're just in here cracking jokes. We're having I had the time of my life that night. It was a great time. But there was one guy. And I know he's going to see this. He reminded me of my dad. He reminded me of my father-in-law. He's over there. He's just cutting wood. He's eyeballing these measurements, which was really just impressive. Like he just pointed out a number, and it was like spot on. Yeah. And he was cracking the most jokes. And I walked in, and introduced himself. I'm Jim. Shook my hand, and immediately just started like cracking jokes. He was like, "We got to build this drum enclosure for some diva drum player." And like, he starts letting me have it. And the next day, I remembered saying to you, "When am I going to meet the pastor?" And you said, "Oh, it was Jim." And I was mind blown. He didn't introduce himself as Pastor Jim. Nobody put that title on him. He was just one of the guys. He was cracking the most jokes in the building that night. And immediately when you said you met the pastor, I fell in love with this guy. Yeah. Fell in love with him. And I said, if a guy can just be a normal person and be a leader of a church, that's where I want to be. Yeah. That's the guy I want to hear every Sunday. I know he's got a word coming that I can relate to. I know that he's going to say something that I've been through that week. He's going to tell me some of the stuff that he's done where he fell short and he regained God's love. He understands that I can make mistakes, but I can regain God's love. He's going to be a normal person. Absolutely. And he never showed me anything other than that. And I know he's watching. He's probably going to see this, and I know that and this is something that, I'll just say, I know it's been a rough go for him. Absolutely. I know it's been a rough go for him. And as I've prayed, as I've been in prayer, God's already healing that situation. God's already fixed it. And as we go through our wilderness, we come out stronger. And I know that's somebody that's equipped with an armor that God's placed on him to fight this battle. So when he gets better, I can't wait to get more jokes and everything else. So a lot of love headed your way, and I can't wait to see him back in here.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that that was like what, 3 days into this whole thing. And
Yeah.
we put him to work right away. It's like, hey, we want to see this drum enclosure. We want to make sure
you got to get in here and help.
You got to get in here and help here.
Yeah.
And, we appreciate that too, and that's one thing we do admire about Jim is he is a in the trenches type of guy.
Oh yeah,
he's going to
absolutely.
get down and dirty, and he's going to make things happen.
Yeah.
And, we're so thankful for him, and so thankful for you for helping with that project, and it's really changed a lot of things. Being able just to control the drums and it makes the worship experience so much more enjoyable for everybody involved, because you can literally play as loud as you want.
Oh yeah, and I do.
It's up to the sound engineers to make sure that it's balanced and
Yeah.
everything, and it's allowed us to do so much with our live streaming and being able to get that in line too. So really cool stuff. A couple more questions here. How has this opportunity to serve here at St. Clair, how's that affected you personally, and how has that affected your family?
So being able to come in here every Sunday and know this is where I'm going to be, know that even though I haven't placed my membership here, they know this is home, and I know everybody's open. They've welcomed me with open arms, except Roger. He wants to fight every Sunday. But I love that dude too. But everybody's just so nice, and I know everybody's here because we all share the same goal, and that we want to worship God in the best way possible. And the fact that being here at almost the restart, I won't call it ground zero because that's when everything is at its worst. The restart and just seeing. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to do it. And everything that you've said, you've done. You've not missed on anything you've said. I'm going to do this, and it's done. And that speaks volumes to a church when they say they're going to do something, because there's people have, even outside of church, broken promises can break the spirit. Broken promises can lead to a lot of church hurt. And everything you said, you've done. And when Jim gets up there and he speaks that word, I know he's lived it. Yeah. I've seen him live through everything he's said so far. Saying that he's trusting God, and he's had to. Absolutely. He's had to absolutely do it. So serving here is effortless, because I know everybody here, you're coming to church every Sunday during a pandemic. Nobody's changed. I mean, they come around, check your temperature, you wear a mask, safety precautions are in place, but everybody's in here. And if you come during a pandemic to serve, you're about God. You're trying to lift up God's word. So that's what serving here is, effortless.
That's awesome. And it has been an interesting journey, over the past year for all churches. And navigating the pandemic and. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really takes some true dedication and commitment, from volunteers to be able to make that commitment to begin with, especially during a pandemic. Yeah. So I can't wait until the pandemic is something that's behind us. God's already won that battle. It's just a matter of time, and definitely looking forward to seeing how the changes we've made now are going to affect us, especially after the pandemic. So. Which leads me into the future and talking about the things that are going to happen in the future and what's going on now. So, what are you excited about here at St. Clair? What motivates you to come here every Sunday and just get you excited and get you really involved and tied into what we're doing in this ministry?
Seeing everybody just so excited about the praise and worship ministry, everybody singing along, everybody just giving praise. And I know that we are just at the beginning. We haven't even started. The Christmas concert was just amazing. And it really, we did that. God was in that. We didn't even really, there was not a lot of hiccups. The enemy will step in and try to give you some technical difficulties here and there. But God showed up and we got through that thing. But coming here every Sunday, and just seeing everybody and knowing that I just get to worship with amazing people, knowing that there's so many people on the Facebook network and YouTube that are worshiping with us at home, and knowing that my family's watching from home. They haven't come on a Sunday yet. We're just waiting. We're gonna wait a while for COVID, because with school and everything. But they're worshiping at home. My mom's worshiping. My dad. A lot of my family are tuning in. Even after church, getting to talk to Pastor Ruben, and just seeing all those people, it gets you, like, having a tough week prior, and then you get to come in here, you just leave it all at the altar. Yeah. It sets you up to go into the next week. Yeah. And that's what excites me every day. It's just, we only can live day by day. So when I get to Sunday and I know that God has got me up that morning, to come in here and worship, I'm so excited. And I get to worship with so many people that watch, and that's what motivates me. Yeah. It gets me excited to come here every Sunday. That's
awesome. So, what would you say to somebody that's, sort of on the fence about volunteering and serving and like that? What would you say to them at this point?
Well, God has never hesitated to serve us.
Absolutely.
So for us to hesitate to serve Him, that just doesn't make any sense. And trying to make sure that you're in the best possible shape to serve God, that makes no sense either. Come as you are is definitely exactly what it means. Bring everything here. Try to leave as much of it here as possible. And every time you come, you'll be better. Every time you come and you leave, you'll be better. So don't hesitate to serve. You're only gonna get the glory from it. And even if you don't know what it is you want to do, just ask. What is it that I can do in a ministry? And that's just not here, that's anywhere. What is it that I can do in a ministry? What is it that this ministry needs? God, what is something I don't know about myself that I can? It could be something like handing out a pamphlet at the door. You don't know what that does to somebody that's coming in that maybe had a problem just an hour ago. Maybe they had an issue, got into an accident on the way to church. And you handing them that pamphlet saying good morning could change that for them for the rest of the day and start their wheel turning. So if you don't know what it is you want to do in a ministry, just ask. Yeah. It's just simple as that. God placed me here. I had no clue. I've driven by this building a million times.
You actually grew up in this
building. I grew up in Lindenwold, like 5 minutes from here. I would walk past here. It was an arcade at, the laundromat. I would go over here and I'd walk right by this church. And I never thought in a million years I'd be in here playing the drums here. Yeah. So if you just ask, God will put you where He needs you. And that's what's most important. Yeah,
and that's one of the most important things that you just stated there is, like, God has a reason and a purpose for everybody. Mm-hmm. And, in summary of what we've talked about this evening is, we may think that God is leading us in one place and we try to make it happen on our own, but when we really dedicate the time to prayer mm-hmm. and put the effort in to trust God and let Him shift things around and make things work, that's where the true ministry begins, right? Yep. And so all of you watching this, thank you for tuning in, and there's plenty of opportunities to serve. And if you pray about it and God is leading you to serve with us and in any capacity, whether that's welcoming people, like he said, being a greeter, being an usher, handing out the communion cups on Sunday mornings. I mean, there's plenty of things that we can do, and that the slightest thing can have the biggest impact, right? Yeah. So we want to encourage everyone to serve. And Rufus, thank you so much for dedicating the time this evening to be able to share your story, and we truly appreciate you, and we thank you so much for your commitment here at St Clair, and we are just so thankful for everyone that's part of this team, and we can't wait to see where God is going to lead us in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.